We got Wimbledon stuff going on. We got, what else we got, Brett?
Live golf tournament. There's some protests going on. People are getting crazy over there.
All kinds of stuff.
First one in the U.S.
But we're going to start first with our literature section here.
Yes, the book club day.
Book club day. We have, I actually know this guy. I know him, Brett. I've met him before. He's actually, his last name is named after me. His name is James Walters. He is my first cousin. His father and my father are brothers, and he is the author of the book Batter Up, Answering the Call of Faith and Fatherhood. Me and Brett have both read the book.
Yep.
Just in case you're wondering. We didn't cheat. We read the book, the full thing, cover to cover. It's a quick read. It's a good read. I suggest everybody go get it.
Not just for fathers either, for anybody. People want to be fathers. Yeah. People who just, think they might possibly be a father. And just, you know what? It's just got a lot of good life stories and mixes in a lot of
baseball stories.
A lot of baseball, good Mets stuff.
But let's let him tell it. Jimmy Walters, welcome to the show.
Hey guys, thanks for having me on.
Hey Jimmy, how's it going?
I gotta ask. You couldn't get a Jets clip for that opening. There was nothing Jets.
I know, right?
I don't like
and
that's
even when he did it, I had to go in there and be like, you could probably add a little bit more Jets, a little bit, less Rangers, and everything.
No. First of all, what did he say?
Right?
What did he ask him? A Jets clip?
Yeah,
we have the Jets clip. Can't wait.
Yeah, that's yeah.
I'm a Bills fan. I could care less. I just was wondering where it was.
But that is the best Jets.
All right, so that's it for Jimmy Walters here today. Jimmy, thanks for joining us.
I like him already.
So before we started anything, Jimmy was out at the Ducks game with his daughter, who we're going to be talking about in a minute. Jimmy, how'd the Ducks do tonight?
They lost. You don't watch anything. But the fireworks are amazing. It reminded me of the Shea Stadium fireworks shows that they used to have. I mean, now they do those pyrotechnic things at Citi Field.
Yeah,
but the fireworks were incredible.
They're all done by Grucci. I actually went to a Grucci wedding one time, and they did fireworks.
Yeah, they do a great job over there at the Central Islip Ballpark, and you can just go, even if you don't go to the game, you can go catch the fireworks after on any of the fireworks shows. So
the book is Batter Up. It's Answering the Call of Faith and Fatherhood, and this isn't your first book. Right, you have other books. Tell us a little bit about this one, how you started to write it, where you came up with it.
About yourself too.
Yeah, so I'm a dad. I have two little girls, Shay, named after Shea Stadium, who will be 6 this September, and Lily, who just turned 2. And she was born in the beginning of COVID, so all that craziness that was happening. And we didn't have a baseball season until July, I guess. So I had some time, so I figured I'd write a book. And I wrote a lot of that book with Lily kind of on my shoulder. And it was really just trying to combine the 3 things that I love the most. Obviously baseball, being a dad, and I do the work of spirituality and faith. I'm a campus minister at St. John's University. And so I love all that spirituality stuff. So trying to integrate those 3 things.
Now, I learned stuff that I've known this guy since we were little, and there was stuff in there that I didn't even know you did. Like the story I liked the most, that I actually liked the most out of the book, was when you brought the child in the I guess it was like an orphanage, and then how you talked about how you wondered what they are today, and how you could see them in the store, and you'd pass each other, and he might not even remember. Yeah. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, it's a great story. I worked at St. Mary's Children's Hospital. I was a volunteer first. That's in Queens, not too far from Bay Terrace, for those who know that area. And they have a lot of kids who are just really sick. And some of them, their parents are very involved, and for some, they're not. And heartbreaking. I mean, it's really heartbreaking situations. And there was this one boy that, when I volunteered, I used to always hang out with him. He probably was 5 or 6 years old, or maybe even younger. And he was one of those kids where the parents were not in the picture. And there's a happy ending because the head nurse who took care of him ended up adopting him. So it is that beautiful aspect of it. But at the time, that wasn't the case. And he was really sick.
I feel so much better about it. Because that part's not in the book. You left me open. If I walk past him, I might not know him. And I was like, oh my God, what happened to this kid?
No, I know. All I know is he was adopted. I don't know anything else.
I feel better.
So I was thinking about that's so many years ago. That's probably 2001, 2002. So I was like, God, we wouldn't even recognize each other. But for over a year and a half, I was seeing this kid every Friday. And then there was an opportunity when they took kids who could go to Shea Stadium, and Mr. Met was there, and I was with him doing the tour of that. And it was one of those early moments where like I kind of knew I wanted to be a dad. You know, I wasn't a dad yet, but it was a sense of like, yeah, I think this is something I would love to do. And had this connection with this kid, but that was it. You know, I moved on, and I heard that he was adopted, but you know, you just never know those relationships that you have in life, especially those short ones, the impact it has, and he certainly had an impact on me.
I bet he definitely remembers it. I mean, there are certain things you remember. I remember, like, the first baseball game I remember going to was 88 Mets, and I forget who they played. I don't remember who they played, but they clinched the division. And I went with your father, my father, and Grandpa. And we sat out in the outfield. And I remember being outside, and like I remember certain things about it. But I was only 7 years old.
Yeah, but,
so I bet
and
that
you probably don't remember two other things that happened that whole year.
No,
but you remember that.
Absolutely.
And it's, you know, that's something that'll definitely get ingrained in you, and you know, being able to bring, you know, go with your father. That's a, you know.
Now, what about now? How did you decide to integrate baseball with it? Because you kind of interlock them, and they kind of relate.
Great Mets stories in there. You had talked about Game 5 of the 1999 NLCS, which you said the 15-inning game, Ventura grand single. You really talked about, like, you know, pretty much how, you know, you have to come together and everybody has to be a part of it, and how, you know, raising a son or being a father isn't just you, it's about, you know, everybody being involved.
Yeah, you know, that game is my favorite game I ever went to. I mean, it was over 5 hours, pouring rain, you know, it was the John Rocker Braves, the Jones Braves. And I think of that game where it took everybody on that roster. And as I was writing it, I went back to the box score, and I was like looking at all the players, and that Sean Dunston at bat to begin that inning, if you remember. Like
yeah.
And it just, I forget how many pitches it was, but just kind of found off pitches is crazy. And it takes a village, you know, and so that's what was fun about this book, because I was able to think back to my favorite games. And, you know, I think I could say this, like, I do not like the Yankees. I hate the Yankees, but I refuse to use any Yankee anecdotes in the book. I do have some Yankee quotes, like, because Yogi Berra gives so many of them, and I think the Babe Ruth one. But
Babe Ruth is a Red Sox, though. It's a Red Sox quote.
I guess. But it was great just because of, like, those moments, and trying to make those connections and tell a story. You know?
You were right, though, because you say in there how it's not like basketball, and we're gonna get into the basketball later about how, like, you know, we're gonna talk Durant and the whole thing's over with one player changes the whole thing.
Yeah.
In baseball, like, you can't get the ball to a certain player when you want to, because you know what? It's when you come up in the order.
Yeah, and you can go out and get a Scherzer all you want, but you're still only going to get him every fifth day. He isn't going to change everything instantly.
And the ball's going to find you. If you have the weak player out there, the ball's going to find them. They're hitting it to him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now what are your other books as well? You have other books, right?
Yeah, I have one other book.
I can't believe we're related.
Well, first of all, we needed this insight around a few years ago when we were about 20-something years old. We could have really used that advice for Bob over here.
Yeah. The first one is helping people kind of find their life purpose. I work with college students, and so often I'm sitting with them, and they're trying to figure out what they're going to do with their lives. And I developed this kind of a strategy of helping them recognize what their gifts are, identify what they're passionate about, and trying to help them achieve that. So that was born out of my work with students and my research. And the book reads very different than the baseball book. The book is more like a workbook, so there's activities. It did really well. Like, I think it had a great impact on people, and it still does. But this baseball book is so much more personal. This book wrote itself. This was easy to write compared to the other one.
Yeah, and you know what? It's my kind of book, right? It's not like the NFL rule book where it's like, you know, 300 pages.
Well, you got Bob, because at least every few pages you have like a Mets story, and Bob can, like, you know, like, trust me.
And I like how you did like the innings, like the fourth inning, like that, like that's clever. Now, what? Tell us a little about. Is Shay into baseball? Like, I know.
Oh, yeah.
Like, is she starting to understand it? Because now she's what, 5 years old? You said.
Yeah, she'll be 6 in September.
Okay, so she's gonna start going to school now. Does she knows somewhat about baseball? Because you gotta have her sit there.
Yeah, it's interesting because she did Little League this year. She did T-ball. Bored to death. Absolutely bored to death. And she unfortunately takes after me and her athletic abilities. So it was hard. I think for her to.
He was an all-state. Jimmy was all-state and everything.
Let me tell you, there's a reason why I write about sports instead of playing sports.
Yeah, there's a reason why I talk about him.
Yeah, exactly. But she loves Pete Alonso. She's all into the Apple coming up. To get her to watch an inning is hard. So I forget there was one. I don't know what game it was where Alonso's walk-off, and I was screaming, and she could care less. there was no desire. We got her an Alonso jersey, so she loves that. We have the black ones that we match. She's into it, but it's into like the moments or like and when you go to a game, it's all about the ice cream, the Shake Shack, it's all that stuff.
I think I'm the same way these days.
Yeah. So now you're missing the game because you're online at the for the souvenir. So it's
flat screens now. At least you're watching the game when that happens, as opposed to in the past. So you just like hear the roar from the one home run that you missed and everybody else saw.
So now let's. Go.
I was saying you don't see a full game though with a kid. Like there's those days are over. You're lucky if you see an inning or two.
Now Jimmy's like because he's a lunatic Mets fan just like me, and you're kind of like our cousin Jay. Jay works for ESPN. He's another lunatic sports fan just like us. He does it for a living. Surrounded by all women. Now does Susie, his wife Susie, does she get sick and tired of it? Of the sports? Because Sarah does sometimes.
She could tell us. We watch most games where she's watching something on Netflix and I'm watching the game on my computer or my phone.
Okay.
And now playoffs are different. Whenever it's every 7 years when we go. Then she's into that because it's intense. But during the regular season, and then the other thing is when we started dating, I watched football, but I wasn't crazy about it. And she dealt with the long baseball season because she knew when we got to the winter, there was nothing really going on. But I really have gotten into football, especially with the Bills being better now. And she doesn't like that at all.
Right on the bandwagon. See, same thing with me, because I'll be like, well, it's playoffs. And she's like, and Sarah will be like, it's always playoffs in something. And it is.
Yeah. But at least now it's much easier when someone can have their iPad or watch it on something else, or you can watch the game on your phone, whereas it used to be the TV's taken over by the Mets game between 7 and 10 every night, or,
Yeah. And, I'm not a big hockey guy, but I love playoff hockey. So I was into that Ranger run. I bit my nails off watching those games. And so it was like nonstop sports, especially with, in COVID, we didn't have much of this stuff. So, it was, I think she forgot a little bit of how crazy it could be. And then the Mets are good, so we're going to be watching them all season.
Yeah, that's it. They're not ready for this. See, they don't realize. They think they know all these Met fan wives.
They think they want the Mets to be good.
All the families think they're like, no, but they've been showing up to every event forever. They're always there. They're never going to miss anything in October. Good luck.
And by the way, I'm not a big hockey fan, but I love playoff hockey is a cop-out answer.
Nope.
And both of you
Why?
are guilty.
Yeah.
Because it just is. Because everybody loves playoff hockey. Did you watch the finals?
No.
So you don't like playoff hockey. You like the Rangers making a run.
Yeah, exciting.
Yeah.
Brett didn't watch the finals either. I think guaranteed. I was sitting there. I was like,
really odd. People who like exciting things.
I was all up about this icing call at the end of the game. Like Jay's like that too. Jay's a lunatic too.
Yeah, I could care less about that.
No.
I mean, once the Rangers lost, I was like, all right, now I can go back to watching my Netflix show.
That's why it's a cop-out answer, because neither of you like playoff hockey.
No, but here's the reason. Put a Ranger game on in January, I could care less.
Yep.
Okay.
I can't watch. I could care less.
Yeah, exactly.
Playoff time is different.
So now let's wait, before we get this, I noticed, and I don't know why, you didn't mention your father that much in this book. A little bit, but not that his fan. Is he a Mets fan? Is he a Yankees fan? Because I know him as he's both. He's a both fan.
Oh, really?
He's a New York fan.
Oh, it's kind of.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's calling in tonight. He's trying to figure it out, so he might surprise you, like like Santa Claus, just closer to midnight.
On his computer, on his consumer cellular.
Yeah.
His father is somebody he's fair weather, okay, and my father's the same way. My father, and they're not like big fans of either one. How we became Mets fans, I guess I don't know how that happened, but like his father, my uncle Jimmy, he'll be, oh yeah, I like the I think he also just likes to give me and you a hard time about it. No, the Mets always stink.
Right.
He truly believes that they're both New York teams, and he roots for the home team. So if the Mets and Yankees play each other, he'll root for them, and depending on the home team. So like when they had those double headers, like back in the day, like West State Stadium and Yankee Stadium, he would root for different teams.
That's great.
Yeah, and like I think I'm gonna go on Monday, the 4th of July, when I see him. He's gonna be a Mets fan. Because the Mets are good this year. The Yankees are really good, better than the Mets.
No, I don't think he will. No? I think he'll be rooting for both teams, and if in the World Series he'll root. I don't know. You should ask him.
He's hedging his bet.
I gotta tell you, he's not a happy camper tonight because the Mets are on Apple TV and the Yankees, I guess, were Amazon, but that got rained out.
Well, that's
he was like, I can't watch. He didn't have any of that access. And he was not happy tonight.
There he goes. He's got, and it's a Nets night.
You don't want to watch on Apple TV with those announcers anyway.
I know, that's horrible.
Not even worth
horrible.
it.
I didn't think the girl was that bad. Now
she was not. She wasn't.
Now, are you somebody who, now I don't want any part of the Subways. Do you want a Subway series?
No. I don't want, I want all the attention myself. I don't want to deal with the Yankees getting half of
I can see that.
That's a good.
That's definitely the point. Yeah,
but it's also too risky. I can't risk another one. I can't lose. We can't lose another one.
A whole year like that would be so rough.
See, that doesn't bother. Losing to the Yankees or losing to the Astros, they both bother me. I need. Here's what I need. I'm going to be 40 this November. I pray I have another 40 years. Do you think I see the Mets win a World Series in the next 40 years?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Definitely.
You do?
Yeah.
I have no confidence in that.
No,
Zero.
I do because I think that like this is like phase one, and like they really are prepared to just go to that next level. And you know what? Normally, when you look at the guys who should be coming up, the Francisco Alvarez, who's on the edge of being in the majors, he would be in the majors if he wasn't a catcher. They have what's coming. They really do. Even if it's not this year. They're going to be right there competing with the Dodgers in the NLCS the next couple of years.
Or they could be the Nets.
Well, that's the whole thing. They're not reliant. They're not going to be the same. Let me tell you, some of these guys are going this year. There's a bunch of these guys who aren't going to be here even by the end of the year. The Mets might not even look exactly the same. And the Dom Smiths and the guys who aren't producing might be see you later.
Well, I mean today is actually today is Bobby Bonilla Day.
It is.
And you know what? With the thing with Bobby Bonilla, I'll bring this up now to you two while you're on with us, Jimmy. Everybody makes fun of the Bobby Bonilla deal. Now, here's some other deals that are also going on. Ken Griffey Jr. got paid $3.7 million from the Reds this year.
Okay,
so that makes him one of the highest paid players on the Reds, right? I mean,
probably.
Okay,
probably. Probably most productive.
Most productive too. Yeah. Today, the Bruce Sutter, 35 years ago today, signed a $9 million deal. He didn't collect any of the $9 million. He collected, for 35 years, he collected just the interest. Today, the Braves finished paying it, paid him $9 million.
Nice. Wow.
And Manny Ramirez is still getting paid by the Red Sox. So everybody likes to, dump on the Mets and then Bobby Bonilla Day and this and that. I think that's a good deal by the Mets. They collected interest on all this money this whole time. One good thing that Will Ponce did.
They didn't. They paid their debts.
They actually saved money by doing it that way. I think the issue is Bobby Bonilla was such a bad guy. He was such a bad player.
He was on some bad teams. Those were bad teams.
Yeah, and we had him twice. That was. I just think it's him. Like if that was Gato Alfonso, people would be like, "Good, pay the man."
Yeah.
It was because of who it was. And he just was such a unlikable guy.
Now, give us your thoughts on Keith Hernandez. Are you glad they retired his number?
When I heard they were retiring it, I cried. I love Keith Hernandez.
Oh,
he was
really?
my first.
Good.
He was my first love as a Mets fan.
Have you ever met him?
I saw him in an elevator at Chase Pressgate.
And he's a jerk. He's a jerk.
He was not to me. He smiled.
Because he was a jerk. He ran away from me in Florida. He ran away.
Yeah, but I don't blame him for running away from you.
Come on.
Yeah, but you know why I wouldn't run away? Because for this I don't want this conversation happening about me. Oh, Walters? Yeah, he's a jerk. And I tell everybody that. And a lot of people are like, oh, he was a jerk too to me. I love him, and I hate the fact that I know he's a jerk. So
I don't know if he's a jerk. I don't know. People, think of celebrities. They have so many people bothering them. He's in Seinfeld, so he's got that.
Yeah, but you know what he's like? You know what he's like? He's like, if at work, if I get stuck for overtime, I'm pissed. I'm like, oh, Jesus. He's that way when it goes into extra innings. Oh, great.
Yeah.
Extra innings.
That's
Here
what we love about him, is how genuine he is about all of those things. He thinks the same way that you would think, sitting and thinking, like, listen, I'd love to see a 12th inning walk-off home run, but we got to sit here for an hour to get there, like now?
I want to be like the little kid. I want to remember Keith Hernandez sitting in the dugout smoking a cigarette.
Yeah.
Forget
it.
So I love the guy.
Yeah. Listen, he was a great player, but I'm not going to his retirement. I will be at Old Timers Day. So tell everybody where we can get the book. We got it held up here to the camera. Tell everybody where we get the book, Jimmy.
Yeah, the best thing to do is go to Amazon. Just put in the search Walters Batter Up. It'll pop up. You get it a couple days, the next day, whatever your deal is. And please leave a review. Those reviews help with the ranking of the book and getting people to see more of it. Did a lot of good press. I'm grateful to be here with you guys to talk about it. And it's as you guys said before, it's a great book for people who love baseball. Certainly dads who want to be dads, people who don't know their dads. Whoever it is.
That's great. But go ahead.
But anyway, I mean, I think there are people I know who read it who aren't fathers, aren't called to that, and they connected with their own father figures. Maybe their dad's not like the best person in the world. But there's other people, other coaches, uncles, people who've been father figures to them. So they make those connections.
Yeah, it was good. I actually enjoyed it. It only took me like 2 weeks to read it, and it's like 100 pages.
What's crazy? I wrote that book in over a year and a half ago, and then you spend all this time editing it. There's an editor who works with you, and I didn't realize how small it was. Honestly, you were like, oh my god, this is gonna be like a 400-page book. It's so much work, and then you're like, oh, it's kind of light, and then people are like, oh, I read it in a day. I read it in a couple hours, and then I think that's good. I think it gets read, and it's a compliment that people are finishing the book. But it's so crazy as a writer because you put all this time into it, and it's this little thing,
Yeah, but it's your work. It's your work.
I do, and I love it.
I didn't find any plagiarism issues, and I mean, I didn't find anything. There were no quotes for me. I didn't get quoted. I didn't get interviewed, but you do have. I thought we had a star-studded lineup with our show here with stuff that we got. Bobby Valentine, Gil Hodges Jr., Ed Cole, Ed Randall. That's
Ed Randall. Can I tell you, Ed Randall, the nicest guy I ever met. He sounds Ed like Cole. Ed Cole's at Fordham, who's the athletic director. He connected me with Ed Randall through the Fordham connection. This guy was thanking me for asking him. I was like, you're crazy. Wow, like, he just was a heart of gold. Bobby Valentine, can I tell you how I got his endorsement?
How?
I emailed him, and he writes back, sure.
Yeah.
And then I reached out to the publisher, and I'm like, do you think this really is him? Is this like a scam? And we did some work on it, and it was him. And he just, again, as you think of meeting your legends and meeting your heroes, because Bobby Valentine is my favorite manager of all time.
Of course.
Like, I love Bobby Valentine.
Ed Randall is like, if I was comparing Ed Randall to another person on radio, I would compare him to, like, if I was describing him to a female, I'd say he's Delilah of baseball radio.
That's really good. You're right.
Right?
You're right.
Delilah.
Yeah.
So, his name's Jimmy Walters. The book is Batter Up, Answering the Call of Faith and Fatherhood. Jimmy, I will see you Monday at Grandma's birthday. Thanks for coming
for being on. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. You're the best.
The check's in the mail.
Yeah, I'll look for it.
All right, Jimmy. Thank you. See you Monday.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
All right. How about that? That was Jimmy Walters, author of Batter Up, Answering the Call of Faith and Fatherhood.
Wow.
How about
I think we see where all